It ain't nothing to cut that bitch off. Throw them bows. It ain't nothing to cut that bitch off. Hey guys, it's gonna be a My Black Life video. It's gonna be about cutting people the fuck off. This video was inspired by a conversation that I was having on Twitter. Where somebody said, retweet if you have no white friends, like 0. And it got some retweets. Someone retweeted it across my timeline. And then the girl basically started talking about how she doesn't have any white friends. So I have the tweet here. She retweeted it and she put, I purposely avoid white people outside of professional settings because they annoy me. I have no white friends. And I retweeted that and then I put, y'all already know how I feel about white friends. If they can't admit to being privileged cogs in the wheel of a white supremacist system and aren't actively working to dismantle it, then it ain't nothing to cut that bitch off, basically. And then I said, if you're friends with one of the 3 cool white people out here that gets it, props to you. But most of y'all ain't friends with cool white people that get it. Y'all are cool with white, racist, microaggressors that you're trying to wake up. And to that I say, nah. And basically we started talking about being friends with white people that are microaggressors and are, and not just white people, but also non-black POC that are, and fucking black people as well, coons, that are racist and are microaggressors and people that treat you a certain way when it comes to race and issues about race, but they're cool in like every other way. Like we started having a conversation about that. And then I put, y'all will be amazed at the number of messages I get from people asking me how to deal with the racist shit their white friend or partner has said. No, seriously, I get so many of these type of messages. Like you guys would be shocked. And asking for advice on how to wake them up. And I'm just like, why are you engaging with this person? Because it ain't nothing to cut that bitch off. Just like I said in my how to deal with the coon video, sometimes you just have to let people go. A lot of the times you guys feel like, no, but they're cool, or they're so awesome, or we have so much in common, or we've been friends for so long and I just love them so much that I can't just cut them off because we don't agree about racism. But for me personally, racism is one of those zero-sum things. Either you get it and we can be cool, or you don't get it and we cannot be cool. You liking Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not gonna offset the fact that you're a racist, in my opinion. And it seems like this is something that's really, really hard for people to reconcile because they don't want to cut off their friends and they don't want to break up with their friends. And they basically feel like, no, this person is a great person and I want to wake them up, change their mind, educate them. 9 times out of 10, I'm just like, if you want to make educating racist people your cross to bear or your burden to bear, that's fine. But I really don't have that much advice on how to do that because I don't understand it. Like I said, for me, it's like one of those zero-sum things. Racism is something that is serious enough that if you don't, that if you're a racist and you don't get it, I'll probably fucking just cut your ass off. And I've been in this situation before, which I said on Twitter as well. I said I've had to cut a lot of former friends off for being racist trash. Y'all don't even know. That's a story for another day, maybe in my Black Life video, which we are now making, obviously. But I've had to cut a lot of people off in my life for being racist. Really one of the main thing that woke me up, what woke me was the death of Michael Brown. That really, of course I was impacted by Trayvon Martin and, other cases that we heard about. But the death of Michael Brown really woke me up. Like it woke up a lot of people. It changed our lives. It was one of those things that changed our lives. And there were people that I was very, very cool with. Close friends, people that were at my wedding, people that were in my wedding party that I considered to be extremely good friends of mine. But once Michael Brown happened and we started having these dialogues about race, especially in public forums, you know, and that started to be a topic that you would talk about at a party or a get together or something like that. A lot of the people that I knew started exposing themselves as racists, really. And even now, it's like, I don't want to call them racist because I know they're good people. Like, I understand that knee-jerk reaction to not want to call somebody a racist, but, you know, a lot of the people that I knew were basically closet racists. They were in the closet, and then once the Mike Brown thing happened, they basically got, you know, fucking exposed. And I didn't have any white friends, but I did have non-black POC friends, and I also had some non-white Hispanic friends that I was really, really close with, some Dominicans that I was super cool with, and really people just started exposing themselves. You start seeing, you know, and especially like through the social media, through the Instagram and the Twitter, and, you know, I had a Twitter account. I ended up shutting it down because I was just like, this is intense. Like, basically I cut off the vast majority of the friends that I had pre-2013, you know, because people just started exposing themselves as fucking racists, and the things that you see, you know, rolling down your Facebook timeline or your Twitter timeline or your Instagram timeline, you know, shit like, oh, well, you know, Darren Wilson is a hero, you know, or, you know, Mike Brown should have just obeyed the police officer, or, you know, maybe if black people didn't do this or that, they wouldn't get shot and killed, from people that you know, and people that you have known for years, and people that you would never think in a million years would say these kinds of things. And now you're getting into it with these people. You know, I was getting into it with people that I had went to college with, right? Like, people that I graduated from college in 2009, right? So 6 years ago now. People that I had known in college, people that I've known 6, 7, 8, 9 years, people that I know, that I thought were my good friends, and now I'm seeing that they have these ideas about black people, right? And it also was like a double-edged sword, because when I was in college, and also after college, I was like very into clothes and fashion and shoes and sneakers and never hair and makeup, but just like clothes and jeans and Japanese denim and shirts and, you know, fucking, you know, Lupe, Mont Blanc pens and Moleskine paper, you know, like very into that type of stuff. And a lot, you know, and very into that culture, right? That urban, you know, designer, high fashion, you know, culture. And a lot of my friends at that time and leading up to the death of Michael Brown were people that I had met through that, and people that were also into that culture, which is an urban culture, which is AKA, it is a black culture. People that are into rap music, people that are into hip hop, people that are into, you know, graffiti, and people that are into sneakers, and people that are into sports and basketball, and, you know, and those people, they are not black, they are non-black POCs, or they are non-white Hispanics and shit, like Middle Easterners, and, you know, like French Montana, and, you know, like the Kardashian types and shit like that. People that are very plugged into black culture, but then you find out that they do not give a flying fuck about black people, and they're friends with black people, and they're dating black people, you know, and they have kids with black people, but then you see them arguing about, well, you know, law enforcement is always right, and you should always listen to the cop, and you should always do this, and you should always do that, and black people don't listen, and you're really like, I thought you were my friend. This is like what you've been secretly thinking about me for all these years. And then you start getting hit with the, oh, but you're not like them. Oh, but you're a different type of black person. From people that you know. From people that you thought you knew. And that was because for a lot of us, you know, pre-Mike Brown, and even pre-Trayvon Martin, but especially pre-Mike Brown, we didn't talk about race. We weren't having racial discussions. We weren't having these type of conversations. We were just talking about sneakers and kicks and clothes and music, and we'd have all types of other types of conversations, but we never really talked about race, so you never really knew where people stood on race. And that's kind of also what we were talking about on Twitter, because somebody said, you have people that are awesome in 100 other ways, and they're into the same shit that you're into in 100 other ways, but on this one thing they stand on a completely different side of the line than you. Is it fair to cut them off? And I say when it's something like race, it's fair to cut them off, because for us, Black people, it's a fundamental part of who we are, and it's a fundamental part of right now what we're going through. And I need you, if you're going to be my friend, to have a fundamental understanding of that, or else we can't fucking kick it. We cannot kick it. We cannot kick it and talk about superficial things while I know in your mind what you would think if I were to possibly, get killed by a cop, or if I were to possibly die in police custody tomorrow. I know you might be fucking on Facebook talking about, well, Seren did fucking have a mouth on her. She did always talk back. I don't know if I can say that it wasn't justified. And that is a horrible feeling to have around people that you consider to be your friends. So I will just cut your ass off. I'm fucking ice cold like that. And I will cut you off. I'll cut you off, I'm going to read you guys a couple more tweets, and then I'm going to tell you a story time. I said, being friends with people, especially white folks or non-Black POC, is about way more than just them being cool. There's certain shit they have to have a fundamental understanding of, or we can't kick it. Y'all are cool with Tom from HR just because he can recite every word of 10 bands, but you never know what Tom is really thinking about you, And then I have retweeted, somebody put, my white coworker just asked me to stop reading about Sandra Bland so I don't put a damper on the happy hour we're on our way to, y'all. I put Exhibit A. And then I put, nah, Sharon is cool. She just doesn't like me talking about police brutality too much. I get those type of messages every day. That means Sharon is not cool and she is not your friend. When we're talking about issues with police brutality and race and racism, and again, things that are impacting us on a daily basis, we have a right to talk about those things. We have a right to talk about those things with our friends. We have a right to express our frustrations. We have a right to vent. Of course, you don't want to talk about that kind of stuff all the time, 24/7, because it will drive you crazy. But you do have a right to talk about those things with your friends. And having friends that make you feel like you don't have a right to talk about those things, like those things are wrong, like you're just being an angry, crazy Black person, like systemic racism doesn't exist, like structural racism doesn't exist, those people are not your friends. I don't care how long you've known them. I don't care how much other shit you have in common. I don't care how much fun you have together. Those people are not your friends. They're just not. They're microaggressors, and they are being microaggressive against you, and they are silencing you, and they are making you feel like your feelings don't matter, and that they're not valid, and that your lived experiences don't matter, and that they're not valid, and they are. They are. And those people are not your friends. And like I said, I know a lot of you guys feel like, especially for the long-term friends or the close friends, that is just a burden that you have to bear, this process of waking them up and enlightening them. But sometimes you just have to let people go for the sake of your own emotional well-being, physical well-being, and for the sake of your sanity. Story time. I used to be very close friends with this girl. Very close friends. And one time we got into this huge argument over the Australian Voldemorts, aka Amethyst Kelly, aka, y'all know who I'm talking about, that white girl rapper. One time we ended up getting into this huge argument over this girl. We were riding in my friend's car. The girl's song came on the radio, the very famous one. And my friend turned it up, started singing along. I was like, oh, I fucking hate this song. I hate this bitch. Oh, why? This is a non-Black POC. This was a non-white Hispanic. Oh, why? Why do you hate it? Oh, because this bitch is just such a fucking culture vulture, dog. Like, what the fuck? Like, And then I kind of just like went into like, you know, she's a culture vulture, and you know, she's just a terrible person, and you guys know I have a whole series of videos about this girl, you know. And this is just another case of like, you know, white girls coming along and, you know, ripping off black culture and getting rewarded, and you know, the whole 9 yards about cultural appropriation. And my friend, who I have known for a very long time at that point, she's driving the car, she turns to me and says, I don't think cultural appropriation is a thing. Record skip? What? What are you talking about? Well, I don't really think cultural appropriation is a thing. I mean, I think that culture is for everyone. You what? What? How could you? What? I was at a loss for words. I didn't even know what to say, right? I was like, well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, it's very obvious, like, she's a fucking culture vulture. Like, she has this Australian accent, and she raps in this accent that's not hers, this, like, fake ass, like, down south. You know, I don't even know what this fucking verbal blackface is. And, you know, she's just obviously putting on a costume, a caricature of black culture. She's wearing my culture as a costume to sell records and to make money. And I also told her about the pop video that she had. You know, like at one point she wanted to do pop music, and then she was kind of rebranded. And then I also told her about the Clear Channel thing. For anyone that doesn't know, Clear Channel is this like huge organization that basically has a monopoly on the radio stations. And if your artist gets onto the Clear Channel platform, the radio stations like have to play their song. And basically that's what happened with that white rapper. She got put on with Clear Channel, and she had a machine behind her causing her to blow up, you know, using black culture as a prop, you know, as a costume, you know, kind of repackaging it to sell it to white people in a safe way, not unlike Miley Cyrus. And then, you know, she could turn that shit off when she's done performing and go sit down at Good Morning America and be a cute, you know, little white girl, well, a 6 foot tall white girl with this cute, you know, Australian accent. And that's not something that black people get to do with our own culture. We don't get to turn it on and off, flip it on and off like a light switch, use it when we want to, and then not. We're black all the time. And I explained all of this to this girl as we're in the car driving. And she's just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like culture is for everyone. And I feel like, you know, who are you to say that she can't be a part of hip hop and she can't be a part of hip hop culture? Like, that's not fair and blah, blah, blah. I just don't think cultural appropriation exists. And I think you're being too hard on her. And then she goes, and I mean, like, if we're talking about cultural appropriation, aren't you appropriating white people when you fucking drink your coffee from Starbucks? Because isn't that like a white people thing? And, you know, when you wear jeans, isn't that like a white people thing? And, you know, who are you to say that, you know, you're the gatekeeper of culture and this and that? And just getting very defensive. I personally feel like the reason why she got that defensive about it was because she was a non-black POC. She was a non-white Hispanic that was very into, you know, black, aka urban culture. She was into sneakers and graffiti and hip hop and, you know, I'm so down. That she felt like me saying what I was saying was low key me questioning her and her being in the culture, even though that wasn't what I was doing. Like, I wasn't talking about her at all, but I kind of feel like she thought that I was like low key, you know, throwing shade at her. And I feel like that's why she reacted so strongly. And we just ended up getting into this huge argument where we were clearly standing on two sides of this big issue about cultural appropriation. And she could not understand why I felt the way that I felt on a fundamental level. And at the end of the argument, I just said, well, you're not black, so I guess you're not going to get it. And she got extremely offended that I said that, even though she's not fucking black. Like, she got extremely offended that I said that. And that was really the end of our friendship. Right there. Like, we talked a couple times after that, but it was a big argument. And like I said, we both realized that we stood, like, again, on two different sides on that level, and we could not continue to be friends after that. Did we have a ton of stuff in common? Yes. Did we have tons of fun together before that? Yes. Is she a super cool person? Yes. I don't think she's a bad person or anything like that. I do think that she has a really rudimentary understanding of race and culture, and that she doesn't want to think about it because it's not something that impacts her as a light-skinned, non-white Hispanic. And instead of trying to listen to me as a black person and listen to what I was saying, oh, I don't want to hear it, blah, 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 blah. And that is not good for friendships or relationships, and it's not healthy. And I don't think people should continuously put themselves or keep themselves in those type of situations where they're constantly having to explain over and over and over why this is racist, or why this is not right, or why this is this, or why this is that. It's exhausting. It's mentally draining. And those are not the type of feelings you're supposed to have with your friends, with your lovers, with your boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, partners, domestic partners, spouse. You know, you're not supposed to have those types of feelings. Those people are supposed to make you feel good. So if every time you're around that person, they say something racist, or they say something that hurts your feelings, or they say something that is a microaggression, or you find yourself having to explain over and over, the time might come for you to have to cut that bitch off. And it's hard, but that's life. You know? I had to do it. I've cut off so many people. Like, there was a time where I was literally every day getting into it with people, like right after Mike Brown died, where I was literally every single day getting into it with people that I had thought were good friends, close friends that I considered to be close friends of mine, people that were not Black, that I was getting into them with them on social media because they were just fundamentally not understanding why this was a thing and why this was an issue. And I'm guessing now, you know, now we're a year into the movement and more people are starting to wake up and see, but like, especially in those early days, you had people that would literally straight up tell you to your face, like, I don't believe you, I think you're fucking making it up, about structural racism. Like, you know, because we've been friends for all these years and I've never thought about this shit before, and I'm into the culture and I don't this and I don't understand this and I don't understand that. And those people are not your friends, dude. Those people are not your fucking friends at all. And sometimes it's better if you just let them go. You can't keep being forced to explain yourself over and over. Like I said in my Do Your Work video, that keeps you from doing your work. It keeps you expending all this energy on educating people that don't want to be educated, or don't care, don't get it, never gonna get it, and people that make you feel bad. And sometimes you just gotta cut that bitch off, you know? Were there any more tweets that I wanted to read you, guys? Just, yeah, I'm talking about Black people being friends with non-Black people that don't have a fundamental understanding of race relations. Don't be friends with people that don't fundamentally understand your causes just because you're cool with them in another area. Don't do it. It's never worth it. Sometimes you have to cut people. I know it sucks, but that's the way it is. You have to cut people off or deal with microaggressions, and I'm not an advocate of that shit at all. You guys know I have a video up on microaggressions. People think they're friends with a cool white person, even if that white person is slyly racist, just because they're cool. You know, people that make certain types of jokes and, you know, just say certain types of things, and you you laugh it off because, you know, that's your video game partner or something like that. That person is racist, and they're not your friends. They're not, and you gotta cut them off. You know, I said I'm of the mindset that those other 99 ways that a person is awesome is X'd out if they're racist. I'm cutting you off. I don't care how fucking awesome you are. Like, that's it. And I've always been that way. I've always been the type of person that if we have something to talk about, we have something to talk about, and I'm not going to fucking talk to you until that shit is talked about. I'm not going to talk to you about the weather if we got into a huge fight yesterday and we're not speaking. Don't hit me up trying to talk to me about the weather. Don't try to hit me up trying to talk to me about some random shit. We have some shit we need to talk about. If you want to talk to me about that, let's talk. And if we just get to the point where we fundamentally are not understanding each other and we're standing on two separate sides of this issue, and it is a serious issue like race, we can't be friends anymore. And like I said, I know a lot of you guys are trying to hold on to friendships and love relationships and things like that through these types of differences, and that's going to be a long, hard battle that you know, are going to be fighting for a long time if you choose to invest yourself in those relationships. And it might never pay off. It might never pan out. That person might just never get it. And I don't advocate for anyone to be in situations that make them feel like shit, because why? Why are you there? Because they're awesome sometimes? That's, no. Don't do it. Do not do it. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself, you know? I don't care how awesome you are. You show me some foul shit like racism and you're done. I don't have time to educate you. And that's coons, that's white people, that's non-black POC, that's everyone, you know? I can talk to you about it, we can have a conversation about it, but if you insist on, you know, well, I think, no, no. You can go, you could go, you can go, you can go. I'm letting you go. If you have a change of heart, or if you want, you know, to have some more conversations about this, I'm always open to having more conversations. But people that just, there's a lot of people that, like I said, that are fucking racist and have all these feelings and they're not going to change, and they just kept it close to the chest because you guys both like sneakers or something like that. And once those fucking true colors get revealed, believe them and cut them the fuck off. So I just wanted to make this video, you know, my black life, cutting off friends, because a lot of you guys I know ask me all the time about this. I've gotten some just really just heartbreaking even, you know, asks and messages about, and I've been friends with this person since we were 9 years old, but they just like keep saying things that make me feel bad, but I don't want to let go because I love this person. But ever since this whole, you know, national conversation dialogue about racist started, I've basically, you know, grown to see that this person is a racist. What do I do? How do I change them? How do I... And it's like, you can't. Some people, they're not ready to get unplugged from the matrix. They're not ready to wake up yet. And you can't keep investing and giving and giving and giving because it's going to drive you fucking crazy, you know? So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments and what type of, you know, situations you guys have been in that have been like this, because I know this is something that a lot of us have experienced, especially within the last year or two. And I want to hear what you guys think. So food for thought as always. See you guys next time. My black life. Peace.